Okay, very exciting. We're starting the last midah, or the first midah, depending on whether you're right side up or upside down, of the midah of Malchus in the Sefirahs. So, okay, everybody knows already that the Yaacov Chesed, Devorah, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus, the architecture of the Bria. Baruch who created the world, who went through these different lenses and filters, and all these different aspects are actually there in the world as we speak, and it all comes down to Malchus. So Malchus, which let's translate Malchus. How do you want to translate Malchus? The easiest word in the whole thing to translate, probably, other than Chesed. What's Malchus?
Kingship.
Royalty. What's royalty? So, Malchusai Bakol Mashallah. If somebody's a melech, so if you're a melech, whether it's over a country or Malach B'Kippah or your house or yourself, if you're a melech, then you're in charge. Not only you're in charge, but your persona and your energy, if you will, permeates every single thing in that Malchus. In other words, this was Malchus Achashverosh Lahabdil. Malchus Achashverosh was different than Malchus Nebuchadnezzar. It wasn't even though in the secular world we call it the Persian Empire, in Chazal it's called Malchus Achashverosh. There was a ruach of Achashverosh that was that permeated every aspect of life in Paras, and it's true because like the Melech, ein Melech below Am. The Melech is like the rosh, right? So like the head. So the head gives off the energy to every single thing. You get you can take the same body, presumably, and put a different head on it. Like if you would switch around heads, have a whole different personality, everything. So the rosh is the Malchus. So when we talk about Malchus, we could talk about royalty, which is like sort of an old time word. We could also talk about like permeation. The word Shechina zu Malchus, that's the Lashon of the Zohar. Shechina zu Malchus. Why Shechina Malchus? Because Shechina means Lashon Shochen. He's here. Mishkan zu Shechina. Shechina zu Malchus. So the Mishkan is the Pshat, a place. There's a little place on this earth, somewhere in the desert there, where everything was all about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the Mishkan. Asali Mishkan v'shachanti b'seicha. It's not necessarily that there's some kind of a cloud that comes down on it. There might be some kind of a symbolic physical manifestation of this Malchus, but that's not the important thing really. What the important thing about the Mishkan is that everything in that Mishkan is about Hashem. You're not allowed to think of Machshava Zara in that Mishkan. You're not allowed to do your own Srachim in that Mishkan. You're not allowed to be Nichnas in Tarmila, in Marvita, like with your own personal things. Leave your gun outside, leave your wallet outside, leave everything outside. This is all about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Mishkan zu Shechina, Shechina zu Malchus. So when we're talking about Malchus, we're talking about it's all about Hashem. That's what. So I'm not sure. Royalty is okay, but I'm not sure if that does it for us. Royalty. Like we're talking about complete permeation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So in order to get there, you have to have Chesed, Devorah, Tiferes, all these different aspects and different lights that come into this world. And sometimes we person's a Baal Chesed. So you sort of like hang on to that light. A person as a Gibbor, you hang on to the light of Devorah. But ultimately, where we need to get to is Malchus. Malchus is where everything, where everything is about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Everything's about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's where we need to get to. So that's Malchus, and that's what we're learning. So Malchus is it's a contradictory. Like I say, it depends where you go, from the top or the bottom. But on the one hand, Malchus is everything. Like all the Ari says, I think the Chem Pashut that all the spheres are all about Malchus. So it all comes to Malchus. On the other hand, Malchus leisle migarmei klum, the Zohar says that Malchus has nothing in it, which is its own. Whereas if we're Malchus, if we're really promoting Malchus, we have nothing. So Malchus is. And the whole Gilui or of the spheres is all about Malchus. I want to go to tangent for a second because I just something occurs to me that you know, like the importance of being a universal Jew. Like you know, I'm saying it as a mashal, but it's also an interesting, I think, you know, academic point that I would make. That I wasn't maybe write a thesis on this if you are so inclined. But you have the Kabbalah. So you have Kabbalah, let's say, the Kabbalah of the Arizal. Let's say the Arizal, the Baal Shem Tov, Hasidus. It's a sort of a line of Kabbalah. And then you have the Kabbalah. That's that Kabbalah. Then you have the Kabbalah of the Gra, Vilna Gaon. And then you have like the Kabbalah of Rav Kook. So they're all similar, but I'll tell you the difference. Here's the thesis. The difference is that there's different and this is important with our spirits. There's different giluyim of Or, the Dati, and there's the Or of the Neshama, and there's the Or of Torah, and then there's the Or of Klal Yisrael, Knesset Yisrael. All of those are Makom Mishkan L'Shechina. All of them are considered Malchus. So whereas most of Hasidus, whatever Hasidus, but you see it specifically in Chabad Hasidus, but I think it's also in all Hasidus that the Iker Chidush of the Baal Shem Tov is to be Megala, the Or of the Neshama, like what's going on inside of us. The Iker Chidush of the Gra, Vilna Gaon, is to be Megala, the Or of the Torah. And the Iker Chidush of Rav Kook is to be Megala, the Or of Klal Yisrael as a whole. Knesset Yisrael. That's the theory. it's there's nobody's arguing here. There's no machlokes here, but because the truth of the matter is that when you catch on to Chesed Gvur Tiferes Netzach you say Malchus, everything is there. It may be Or, maybe the Rabbi Chal is being Megala, different Or. I just haven't figured out yet. But what is true, like more curved contemporary understanding, is that there are three Oiros. My understanding is that there are three Oiros that need to be Niskala, and this is the importance of universality, because what are you going to do without the Gra? What are you going to do without the Balatanya or Rav Nachman? What are you going to do without Rav Kook? You can't the bunch, because you're going to be missing out on one of the three of the trifecta of Klal Yisrael. You need this. You need these three things. And, everything bismano. After the time of the Baal Shem Tov and the Hasidim, where even politically people were so downtrodden, and there was even the system of real estate was lords, landlord, lords. Like there needed to be a tremendous hisroimimus of the neshama. Like who are we? What are we? It was a sort of an existential quest, and that was the chiddush of the Baal Shem Tov. The Gra was fighting the Maskilim, and fighting the Maskilim, which the Enlightenment at that time, and the Bezayin HaTorah, and which turned into the Reform movement eventually, and all of that apokarsis. So, the HaTorah Munach B'Karen Zavis, the Torah had no kavod, and the Gaon really brought out this every word, every gematria, every shemus under daf, and there's no extra word, there's no extra syllable, there's no extra nakuda, not a kametz, not a patach, which is unimportant in the Torah. There is no document like this, and the Gaon was a mekubal adar. Now you can be a chassid and go your whole life and not learn one word from the Gra, because your interest is more in Kabbalah's Haneshama, or Haneshama, than or HaTorah. And you can certainly go without learning Rav Kook. Many people do, but there's not a political issue. He's talking about a different thing. Here we're at a time coming back to Eretz Yisrael. We're in Eretz Yisrael. But putting the politics aside, just stop at me. Has there been a bigger miracle in the history of Klal Yisrael since Yetzias Mitzrayim? I'm not to the Ummah. Personal miracles, yes. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's been personal miracles, maybe people fell off skyscrapers and lived, I don't know. But in terms of the Klal Yisrael, there has, since Yitzias Mitzrayim, what's Yitzias Mitzrayim, Mount Torah, and here we are, so it's a very, maybe Mashiach will be something even more so, but, so this is the Kabbalas Ha'umah, if you will. So it's a tangent, but I just think as we're winding down on the Sefirah and Devorah, before we get on to the next limud, it's important to understand that you really shouldn't get messed up in becoming like a chassid or a misnagid or a Zionist or something. Just be makabel at all, because there's a certain shleimus that comes with understanding all the three Iris, okay, Adkan. So so Malchus is, as I was saying, a contradiction almost, because Malchus is everything and Malchus is nothing. Malchus leisle megarmei klum. Malchus is just like a reflection, if you will, of the entire system of Elikus in this world. So, or as you know, light is meaningless unless it's reflecting from something, right? It's about as much of a physicist as I get. But I know that if you would there's no light in a vacuum. Moshe's a physicist, nobody can't have light. You don't see light unless there's something.
There's nobody to see.
Hmm?
If there is nobody to see, cannot see what
I'm not saying nobody, no thing.
Yeah, but
It's something that the light's hitting.
but there's also a thing.
Mm-hmm. He's a thing.
It can be a thing.
Yeah, but Hmm? Yeah, but I'm saying that yeah, if it could all be happening, but if there's no Malchus, so what's the makabel of the R? That's what I'm saying. What is the makabel of the R? So the R is the Malchus is everything, but the R Malchus is nothing, right? I mean, it's nothing. It's just a reflection of everything that's happening. So all of Elikus go into this Malchus. So it means to say that if we are part of the Malchus, on the one hand we have everything, on the other hand we have nothing. So we're at a very I'll explain, very practical. It's very practical, but the way it works is that we have nothing and we have everything. If you want to really have everything, so then you really have to have nothing. This is it's not as puzzling as it sounds. So let's just learn a little bit.
An empty kli.
Right, but even a kli is something. Right? And then Malchus, leisle migarmei, or is different. Zohar says leisle midilei klum. So maybe an easier lesson for us to understand. Leisle midilei klum. There's nothing in and of itself. If you would have, let's say, you can't have this, but let's say you would have Malchus with nothing, without all the spheres behind it, it would be nothing. It's a vacuum, black hole, nothing there. If you have all the spheres without Malchus, you also have nothing, because what do you have if it's not hitting ground? What do you have? So the world, Babish, the world, is the Malchus Hashem.
You understand what I'm saying, that each one is being built on the first one, right? And then it makes a combination.
I didn't say that.
No?
I didn't say that. Because you're here. Like it could be each one is separate. Yeah. Doesn't mean that it goes necessarily zigzag one through the other.
That's the choice.
Yeah, it could be separate. It's not Nogeya. It's not Nogeya. It's a different Chakira, sort of. If each one of these lights is coming down separately, or it's all adding one onto the other, it's a separate Chakira. I don't know if Devorah is Chesed plus Devorah. I believe that the Rabbi Yaacov says that each one is a culmination of the ones before, like you're saying. But I think the Ramchal is not like that. I think the Ramchal says each one is a separate or. So let's. I'm against tangents. That's the joke of the day. My whole life is a tangent. But what I'm saying is that I want to just make this very simple yesod, is that the Midah of Malchus, it has everything in it, however it got there, and the Midah of Malchus is leisle midilei klum, has nothing in and of itself. It's strictly reflecting. It's like the moon.
So is it like, let's say, a king without any subjects?
Like the what?
A king.
So in Melech Loyam.
Right, so if he doesn't have subjects, then
That's right. What is it? What is it? And if there's subjects without a king, you have subjects without a king, but you don't have Malchus. There's no Malchus. Then, I don't know, like, let's say, I mean, just as and I'm not sure if, like, the democratic system as we know it, I don't know if that's called Malchus. I don't know if we're all living, like, if you're living in America, you're all living with the energy of Obama. Hope not. I don't know, it's not the way it works, but if there would be a king, and there might be countries in the Middle East, wherever, that, there's a different type of an energy, and it's not just about how much power he has. It's about, is it by the people, of the people, for the people, or is it a Malchus?
In the UK, people definitely see the Queen as
It's something different. Yeah, she is the people. I mean, if she is, she is. I don't know, but that is the idea.
But Caesar was the same thing.
Yeah. I read once, a long time ago, that when the Queen of England, this queen, when she became queen, she was young. There's a queen mother, so the first time that she had to go and greet her people. So there was like millions of people out there in the square, ready to greet the new queen. It's a big deal over there in England, am I right? A big deal about nothing, it seems. I remember I was once in England and I went to see the changing of the guards. Why did I go to see the changing of the guards? Because the Devorah says that you should be like you should see Malchus. Like talk to see Malchus. So like, where do you see Malchus? You go to the Knesset, you don't see Malchus. Where do you see Malchus? I think you'll see some Malchus. So we're waiting. I think it was supposed to be at 4:00. It wasn't at 4. I don't know. They're not Yekis over there. So it wasn't. So there was this English guy next to me. There was thousands of people there. I don't know, hundreds. But the guy next to me was an English guy. So I said, you've seen this before? He says once a week he comes to see the changing of guards. So I said, why do you find it? Do you find it exciting? Like, so I remember he said, it's as exciting as watching paint dry. Good British art, right? But he's there. Why is he there? Malchus. This is Malchus. So when the Queen Elizabeth, the new queen, was coming out onto the balcony to greet the people, she was nervous to go out. Like thousands of people. She was nervous to go out. So her mother said, "What are you nervous about?" So she says, "I'm nervous of the people." So her mother told her, "You don't have to be nervous of the people. You are the people." It's a good Vart of Malchus. But like this, there's nothing like on the one hand. So you take a queen, a king, they have everything. Riches, and kavod, everything. On the other hand, they have nothing. So they are the people. They belong to the people. They are the people. They represent the people. They are the people. It's a concept. It's a concept of Malchus. So you could be the richest person in the world and really the poorest person in the world. Like, let's say there would be some type of a thing where the queen would become vice queen.
Well, we had here also the exile of King of Greece. We used to pray in the church, and you're come on, there's just an ordinary guy.
Garnished, right. So the Devorah says as follows: Rishoina lekulam. Just look inside here. Rishoina lekulam. It's very interesting because we're talking about the Malchus as being the last of the Midas. But he says Rishona lekulam. This is really the first, and the first thing. But he doesn't. There's a comment there. Rishona lekulam. Malchus is the first, the last, the be all and end all, if you will, of the Sefiros. Shelo yiskoeh liboy b'chol asher loy, is that a person can't be a balgaiva. One can't be proud. One can't be haughty. If you want to embody Malchus. So there's no gaiva here. V'yasim atzmai tamid ka'ani, and a person should feel like a impoverished person. V'yamid atzmai lifnei koinoi, and he should be standing in front of his Creator, kidal, like a poor person. Shoel umischane. Ulhargel atzmai b'midazu, and he should habituate himself with this midah, afilu shia asher, And even if you're a poor person, Yachshov, think for yourself, she'ein dovek imay mikol asher lo me'uma, nothing is really sticking. V'hu nezav, I'm really forsaken. Sarich l'rachmei habari tamid, I need the rachmim of Hashem. She'ein lo kol dover ela alechem asher yachol. And I don't have anything except for the bread that's in my mouth right now. V'yachnia levavai, and one humbles their heart, v'ya'ane atzmai, and one, what's ya'ane, I always say, it's a lashon of ani. But it doesn't mean to become ani, it's a lashon of tainus. It's a lashon of inoi, v'nisem es nafshoy sechen. Means what? Afflict. Uma gam be'ez tfiloisav, how important it is when you daven, shizu skula nifla, which is tremendous school. I'm going to explain this. The word sounds simple, it's not simple at all. I have the Sefirah here in Devorah. I brought especially to tell you what I think is the wrong pshat in all this. It says as follows. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, the Gemara says in Rosh Hashanah Tezayim, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, Kol Shana Shirasha B'Tchilas Misasheres B'Sofa. It's an interesting Gemara for this time of year. That Rosh Hashanah, that the Rabbi Yitzchak darshans that rush. There's a lashon of rush there. What's a rush? Poor person. Loeg l'rush. Serif, I say. Loeg l'rush. You don't make fun of poor people. It's going to be very important to understand what's an ani, what's a dal, and what's a rush. And an evyon. Evyon says the gra hu garua mikulam. Matanas levyonim. You can't give matanas laniyim. Without getting into the full detail of it, because it's a essay unto itself. But an evyon is the poorest of them all. But it's not just levels of poor. An ani is not even poor necessarily. Ein ani ela badas. An ani is a person who feels like the ultimate in Einoi Semeach Bechalkai. Like no matter what I have, I feel poor. I'm just like a poor person. So you could be a poor person and not be an ani, but Evian is not necessarily an ani because he feels good. And an ani is not necessarily an Evian. You could be an usher and be an ani. That's why it's a lashon of inui. There's certain people that that are self-afflicting. They ain't ani ela badas. You could be a very poor person. You could have pride. And there's no reason why not to. Because everything depends on money. It's not about money. It's not about what I have. It's about what I am, right? So an ani that's an ani. So here he uses a number of words interchangeably. A rush is a person who had money and lost money. That's what the cross is in the Siddur. Like Lashon Yerusha. So why is that a loig l'rush? They had oilam hazeh. Very good. They had oilam hazeh. They could have done mitzvahs. Loig l'rush. That's only one application of loig l'rush. Loig l'rush is like you don't make fun of somebody who used to have money and lost it all. It's obvious, but in other words, like it's a certain. If you're born in ani, if that's your mazel, so nobody's making fun of you. That's your mazel, like the mazel. That's what you are. If you had money and you lost money, so there's a place to poke fun. Like what kind of a jerk are you? Like if you blew it all, like all the lashonis that people use for people that lost all their money. It's like total. So that's loyeg l'rush. That is the concept. That a rush, somebody who had kilu, like it's the opposite of Yerusha. Yerusha is when you're poor and you get money, you're rich. A rush is when you had money and you lost it all. I don't know what's worse, what's better. It's different things. And Evian is your mazel is not to have money. Like you're just like a permanently poor person. See, that's why I think maybe the Riskarov is not 100% accurate, if there's such a thing, because Riskarov said that you got to be careful that an Evyon, when you give matanas le'Evyonim, you have to be careful because let's say there's the town ani, so everybody gives him money. So by the end of the day, he's the usher. So he's an usher, you're not Yotzei the mitzvah, so you have to, the Brisker said you have to get up in Netzachama and give this guy while he's still heavy. Then he had a chakira, but what if he's going to be an usher that day? So, is he, by the time he comes to the Sudas Purim, so the Brisker Rav jokingly said, he says, I found one Evyon in Yerushalayim, and I'm not telling anybody about him.
He's mine.
He's my Evyon, and he's going to stay at Evyon. no way I'm going to let him get any money in it. Okay, but I'll tell you why I think it might be not me. It's a joke, but it's like a big Brisker joke, but it could be it's not accurate because an Evyon's an Evyon. That's his mazel. You give him $1,000, it's still an Evyon. You give him $10,000, everyone's trying to help the Evyonim, but you're not going to make the Evyon rare. Evyon is an Evyon. That's the thing, and you're not makayim this mitzvah with an ani, because an ani, no matter how much money you're going to give him, he's still an ani, like an ani ala badas. So it's not a leave Russian dal on the side over here. Dal is a guy who's middaldel, like he's on his way down. He's going down instead of up. It's this is amazing stuff because I've seen we've all seen, but I've seen with my own eyes people that when they were like super wealthy, like they got such kavod, they came into the shul, everybody acts differently. You see this, like people like I'm talking about a real, multi-billionaire, like everybody somehow there's a certain energy around them, and then one day they lose their money, the energy's completely gone, completely. I don't even give them an aliyah. It's just an amazing thing because it's like so superficial to the person. Either you got it or you don't. It's like you're bechamin somebody's suit. It's like a lavush. It's not a real thing. So, anyways, he says here that the Gemara says, if you're poor at the beginning of the year, rush. If you're poor at the beginning of the year, misasheres besofa, you can feel that you're going to become rich at the end of the year. Anybody had this experience? Okay. Shenamar, meireshis hashana ad achar shana. Meireshis ksiv, from Roshis, meireshis ksiv, like we take out the aleph, ad achar seifa sheyesh la achris. You have an achris. Rashi says, sherasha b'tchilasa, Yisrael oisin atzmon. This is a very important Rashi. What does it mean that we're poor? Not that our bank account is low, or our accountant tells us we're, be careful here. We're going to have to start flying the, economy class. But Sherasha b'tchilasa, Yisrael oisin atzmon Roshin b'Rosh Hashanah. Rashi says if you can make yourself into a rush, poor person, on Rosh Hashanah, by l'daber tachnunim utfila, by davening in a way like I'm a poor person. You're not coming with any gaiva takadosh baruch hu. Kinyan shnemer tachnunim yedaber rosh. The pasuk in Mishlei Yudches. So what the Gemara is saying according to Rashi is that if you're rush, meaning if you're humble on Rosh Hashanah, if you can come into Rosh Hashanah humbly, realizing everything comes from Hakadosh Baruch Hu, so then, Misashim Mitchilas, you'll have everything. So here you have a case of the Gemara, forgetting about what the Pshat and the Talmud Torah is for a second. Gemara is important these days, and this period unto itself, that humbleness, humility on Rosh Hashanah brings Ashirus towards the end of the year, by the end of the year. So he says here, in explaining the term Devorah that we just learned, Bir Hadavar, Sha'adam Yavin V'Yavhir La'atzmai B'Rosh Hashanah Sh'Kol Tzrachav B'Shana Achadasha Midei Yoim B'Yoim Nigzarim Alav B'Yoim Zeh. What this means is that a person should have an attitude on Rosh Hashanah that the whole year is dependent on this day. Koloimar Kerega Ein Lo Klum. So whatever I had on Chavtas Elul doesn't really mean anything for this coming year. But Tzarech L'Kabbalas HaKol Michadash, I need a new grant from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to be able to exist. V'im Toimar Yehudi Zeh Yesh Le Baruch Hashem Parnasa Kavua. I have my job. I have my parnasa. What do I need the Rosh Hashanah for? Yesh Le Gam Hoin Shisham B'Makom Batuach, and I also have in Switzerland another few $1 million. Yesh Le Kishroinais V'Sharim Tovim V'Yedidim Tovim. I have the right acquaintances. I have the right contacts. I have the right Everything, yesh li mishpacha, I have a rich family, so I have a large safety net, right? Like, what am I, bias, I have my house if all else fails. Eif yuchol Yehudi zel lamed b'rosh Hashanah lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu kerosh. He says, how are you supposed to be a rosh on Rosh Hashanah? Shei lo klum, ka'ani b'Pesach. Ela adam l'das, he says, the answer is that we have to know, shekol ma sheyesh li hu rak b'rtzoi nabari yisparach. The obvious answer is, I don't really have anything. I just have what Hashem has given me. So if anything, if there's a little bit of a change in din, b'toch rega, I can not have it, chas v'shalom. V'had kama shaboyer roitze yesh le'vim chas v'shalom ein zeratzon Hashem yisparach yochel abed es hakol ben rega chas v'shalom. Okay, reinu beinayim. This Musar is 100% emes. Nobody can argue with this Rashi and the Gemara. However, what he's learning in the time of Devorah is that Malchus is that I make myself in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu as if I have nothing, because I understand I'm completely dependent on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's how he's understanding Malchus, and I think it's incorrect, unprecise. For a sophisticated group, that's al derech hamusar, but there's something much deeper over here. It's not that we're not making ourselves ki'ilu anything. There's no ki'ilus here. The pshat is, it's not like I make myself like I don't have anything because I'm completely dependent on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's very much the opposite. To the contrary, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is completely depending on us. Malchus is the pshat that everything I have is not mine b'chlal. It's a whole different idea than what he's saying. I'm not doing a ki'ilu over here. The side of it is that there's no ki'ilus, there's no make pretends. When a person comes to realize that I am but a shaliach Hashem in this world, so he's miskoeh b'mashe no shaloi. This is not what he's saying, right? But that is the pshat in Malchus. It would be like, to my understanding, it would be like a person standing up on Rosh Hashanah and saying, I'm a rich man, is like a bank teller, the lady in the bank holding up $100,000 and saying, I'm a rich lady. This lady's making $7.85 an hour. For counting hundreds of thousands of dollars a day, but you're a counter, you're a clerk. What it means to say is her business is to be the pipeline for money, but nothing sticks necessarily, and if it does, she goes to jail. It's not her money. It would be like the Malchus, as I understand it, is to understand that this money belongs to the bank, it belongs to the customer, it belongs to the government, it doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to me, I'm just a teller. It would be like, if you're a driver of a billionaire or a president, and you've got a $500,000 car, and you're driving around Kilo like you're a gavir. You're a driver. So the driver, the Malchus, which is if you're driving the Melech. So on the one hand, and here we are, because this is actually a pretty good mashal. On the one hand, this driver, he can't afford even his own car. On the other hand, he gets to drive the most chashuv car in the country. And if you consider bulletproof and missile-proof chashuv,
He drives well.
He needs to be an unav, otherwise he'll be fired. He needs to be an unav if he wants the luxury. So he needs to get out and open the door for the melech. He's not the one who should be driving around with the window open with his hand out smoking a cigarette. It's not the right. He'll be fired because the reason he has everything is because he has nothing. So if you understand, if you can capture Malchus, like in our own lives, we could understand that we have nothing. We have nothing. So we go out, we open the door, we wear the special yarmulke to open the door. But because we have nothing, HaKadosh Baruch Hu trusts us with everything. So Mamela, we could have Hon Rav. We could have millions of dollars. We could have everything. We could have kavod. We could have nachas. We could have everything because I'm a good driver. So once we understand that we have nothing, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu trusts us with everything. You wouldn't let somebody be a treasurer if they have a typhus mammon, right? That's not the nothingness of it is the everything of it. So it's a bit of a complicated avoda. This is not what he said. It's not like a person should understand they're completely dependent on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That implies that it's not Malchus. If I'm dependent on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it means that I have, but I'm making pretend I don't have because I want to have. And Malchus has nothing. Malchus has nothing. On the contrary, the pshat is not a steer to Rashi. Kol Roshin b'tchilosei. The more I can, what's Rosh Hashanah about if not Malchus? Malchus Hashem, Malchios, Sechronos.
So the Melech has no responsibility then.
The Melech is Hashem. We're the Malchus. Don't get confused. Melech has all the responsibility. We're the Malchus. We're the Noisei. The Noisei Malchus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu created this world. It's not as if I understand this at all, but I'm just, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu created this world because he wanted a Malchus b'tachtonim. I don't know why. I don't have access. Nobody knows why HaKadosh Baruch Hu needed a Malchus b'tachtonim. I could guess. But he wanted a Malchus b'tachtonim. So it's like the Ramchal says. Here's where the Ramchal helps us. But the Ramchal says that in all of the Olamos, there's malachim that are, again, Hashem could do anything he wants. He could have done everything himself. He chose malachim to do. There's a malach hamavas, there's a malach refuah, there's a malach elio, malach habris. There's malachim. There's what do we count once? 273 known malachim. I think I have an encyclopedia at home of malachim written by Reuven Margolius. So we found 273 malachim in Tanakh and in Chazal. Okay, maybe there's billions of different ones. 273 that are identifiable malachim, and then there's us. So malachim are doing the stuff for HaKadosh Baruch Hu in higher worlds, making people born, making people die, giving people parnasa. We're not meant to daven to those malachim, but we know about the malachim. We say Tal, we say Geshem, Afberi, those are malachim. So they're all malachim, and the Ramchal says, and who's the malachim in this world that we live in? That's us. We're the malachim. Ein bein, he says, ein bein malachim l'malachei hashareis l'basar v'dam. There's really no difference between malachim and people, except that malachim have no bechira chavshis, and we have free choice to do to decide whether we want to be on the team play, whether we want to be team players or not. Like it's interesting, you can decide not to be a malach, chas v'shalom. But like the way to see ourselves is malachim. So you say, like malachim, okay, I'm here to carry out the fact that there's a malchus Hashem. But so you say, well, I don't want to be like a bank teller. So first of all, I don't know if you have a choice to be what you want to be, but we are what Hashem created us. Like a malach is saying, I don't want to be a malach. Like you're a malach. There's nothing like there's not much you can do about it. You're a malach. But besides for that, the chiddush here is that if you're understand that we're malachim and we have nothing for ourselves, so then automatically we have everything. Because now you get the big car. Now the malchus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you become a merkava for that malchus. This is the side, by the way, of looking for a Rebbe. So Irav Chadoyma Lamalach Hashem Tzvokos Tavakesh Torah Mifiv. That's what the Torah says. But if you find a Rebbe that's like a malach Tavakesh Torah Mifiv, then learn Torah from him. So it's like it just makes it difficult to find a Rebbe, no? Rebbe that's like a malach. I had a Rebbe that was like a malach. But,
I think we all found one.
Yeah. All right. No, I had a Rebbe that was a Malach. I always was saying drushes of this, and then one time I looked at my Rebbe Rav Shaiber. I said, I don't need any drushes. He said, looks like a Malach to me. But what is the Sod Hadavar? The Sod Hadavar is that a Malach has no personal interests. He's not in it for himself. So if you're not in it for yourself, so Tavakish Torah B'Pid. In other words, if this Malach here, if this Rebbe Malach is in it for himself, for his own glorification, for his own kavod, for his own, not that you shouldn't give him kavod. Of course, you have to give kavod, but that's gufa the stira here, But if the Rebbe is in it for himself, so al Tavakish Torah B'Pid. It's like it's nai-kafel there. You may know joy milamalach Hashem so because al Tavakish Torah B'Pid, because Torah is all about the pipeline of energy which is coming from Shemayim to Aretz, and this Rebbe is the pipe, or the pipe, or the sfog, or the Arba Midos to B'Talmidei Chacham. That's not one of the ones in Pirkei Avos. So either or a mashpech, or a svog, or there's different things that he can be. But at the end, he's a conduit of Torah. So the minute that the conduit, that the funnel is holding some oil for himself, so this is not a good funnel. Get a different funnel, because you want to have everything go into the thing. I mean, you don't. The pipe is not supposed to be leaking. So this is the Sod Hadavar. So on the one hand, on the other hand, who should we give more kavod to than our Rebbe? Man Malchei Rabbanon. Who should we give more kavod to? So we're giving kavod to somebody that's Leislei Megar Mei Klum. And by the way, I and everyone would find it very difficult to give kavod to somebody who wants kavod. Why is that such a difficult? He wants kavod, give him kavod. If he wanted money, to give money. Well, he wants kavod, give him kavod. Because there's something off here.
It's a blockage.
Well, there's something off, right? So in other words, like this is the bank teller who thinks that she's the gevir, or the driver thinks that he owns the car. This is, so on the one hand, this is the stira of Malchus. So what he says here, just so we just end with this, and we'll go further because Malchus is not a one-day thing. I think this is not right. The idea that we should understand that we're fully dependent on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's right. I'm not saying it's not right, but that's not what Malchus means. Malchus doesn't mean that we're completely dependent on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It means everything that we have is really not ours. And the more one can realize that everything that we have is not ours, the more one has. And that's the only Jews come up with this idea. It's so he says here that it's yeah.
Power in Yosef, is that something like Yosef says that he's focused on power, he's not. They're like similar to power in Yosef. That Yosef just like
right. What does he say?
About, I think it's not something that somewhere something that it's.
He kamocha kapara. That's what Paro said.
I think Yosef says something that he's not. This is power. It's not his Sefirah.
Right. See, we got to be careful with Malchus and Yesod. I want to be precise because Yosef was made to say Yesod. So I just want to be precise. So we got to look carefully, at that. But I just want to end off with this: that he says just something that we should consider further, especially now before Rosh Hashanah, Avi Russian. That he says it's what's the lashon over here? So again, here in the Pirush, he says that when you daven, you should realize that you're completely dependent on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is emes, but that's not what the term Devorah means. What the term Devorah means here is that I can daven, and I can say, Hashem, give me wealth, give me wisdom, give me nachas, give me health. I could say that, and maybe Hashem will listen, maybe he won't. We don't know. Or I can say, I want nothing, but I want nothing. But I want you to have a malchus in this world, and I understand that I'm a malach here to help create that malchus. And if you want me to do this, like put gas in the car, and like you can't expect me to. How's this? You can't expect me to make a malchus, to take my time and make a malchus for you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in this world, if I'm having problems with shalom bayis. So take away those problems. You can't expect me to have a malchus if I'm poor. How am I supposed to do this? So like, how am I supposed to be the bank teller if you don't give me any cash? You have to give me a certain amount of cash at the beginning of the day. I have to have chachma to do this. So it's very important, and this is the school of nifla, that davening, as opposed to what he's saying of complete dependency on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the correct school, if you will, of tefillah is to daven for nothing, but daven for everything that should increase the Malchus Hashem. I can't. And this is what you say at the end of Shemona Esrei, kashti, asay l'man kedusha secha, asay l'man Shechina secha, asay l'man Torah secha, asay l'man yaminecha, whatever your nusach is. Like if you're a Chabadnik, you have a whole bunch of asay l'mans there, like a lot of asay l'man. But it's whatever it is. The point is, it's all asay. And we say this in Avinu Malkeinu. We always wind up with this, that lo b'shvili. Not that I'm completely dependent. Do you hear the chiluk? Not that I'm completely dependent, but it's a lo b'shvili b'chlal. If I'm going, I always think there's a guy told me once, I lived in Australia. So he said that he works in a garment garment thing there. And his job is to cut the material. So there's a pattern, you cut the material. So they have these knives. He was explaining to me. It's like looks like something you can cut pizza with, but maybe this big. You get through the knife, and he says that it's like he has a problem that he's not meeting his quota of how much material he's cutting, because his knife is it's already like 20 years old, and it's dull, and it's not a. So I said to him, so why don't you ask your manager, your boss, for like a new knife, right? That makes sense. Yeah. So he said that. He doesn't like to ask for things. He doesn't like to be demanding. And I didn't say, but I thought to myself, what a shota you are! like you're probably like a fool. Like, who wants you to have a sharp knife more than your boss? This kilo. Like, I don't want to ask for my own personal comforts. This is your personal comforts. You need garments to be cut. What you're saying is, I want to do the best job as I can, and I want to be efficient, and I want to perform. So you get your money's worth. So spend $25. It could be a new knife. Like what's the? You're not like the whole concept. This whole false humility of I don't want to bother the boss is silly, because this is for the boss. So it's like, I don't want to bother the boss and ask him what kind of coffee he wants, if he wants milk. This is so the tefillah, the segula nifla and tefillah is exactly this point. It's bother the boss, because if it's for us. Like, I'm dependent on you, I need you, so, the tefillah is an oy. So first of all, it's not a tefillah b'toich simcha, and it's not a tefillah at all. Maybe you have schusim, maybe you don't have schusim. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, probably we don't. So the Gemara says that I'm a vakesh b'schus atzmai, like, you haven't got a chance. But I'm a vakesh b'schus acherim. If that's the pshat, like how am I supposed to do my job, without the tools? So then, like school only flaw, I would say almost. Who am I to say? But I would say guaranteed success. Guaranteed, unless it's not meant to be for some reason, like not a good shliach, it's not real. It's a guaranteed success that you're davening for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How could he not answer? Guaranteed success. Okay, I'll leave it with that.
All right.